Welcome back to episode 21 of Tall Boy Radio. Last week we were talking about vacationing, and we were talking about the Lake District, Stratford-upon-Avon, and York mainly, and a few other places as well. And this week, as we said, Gaz probably wouldn't be joining us, and sadly that has turned out to be the case. He is unavailable. However, I do have my co-host Andy with me. Say hello, Andy.
As adjusting my camera and stuff.
Oh, crap. Edit.
and we're also joined by Ken. Now, Ken and I used to work together, and I was working this out earlier today. I reckon it's about 18, 19 years ago, dude.
Well, one of us has aged really well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's quite scary.
That is terrifying start. That is genuinely terrifying. I thought it was a lot closer than that. But it just goes to show you work with somebody for... It wasn't that long, was it? Then you broke playing out in your kitchen, and then that was it.
The story's out. Yeah, I had to tell them. I don't work for that company anymore, so I can say it anyway. I broke my wrist playing football, but obviously you didn't get paid if you did it playing sports. So I had to tell them I slipped in my kitchen at home and broke my arm in two places. Three if you include my thumb.
I think it's three. Yeah. And then
that's it. Yeah. So
that area who signed you off, he came back, by the way.
Did he really?
Yeah, he really did. Yeah, the Irish one, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
Barry, something really. I think you phoned him up and said I think he was leaving one, and you phoned him up and said something along the lines of I'm not going to be able to make it back yet, and he was just like, take as long as you want.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So I think we worked together for about 4 or 5 months, and for 3 of those months I was off with a broken arm.
Yeah. Well,
it was quite a bad break, Andy, to be fair. I was playing football, and my mate Pete tripped me up, and I put my hand up against the wall, and instead of it bending at my wrist, it bent there instead. It was quite painful.
Yeah. As I say, was it 4 or 5 months? And as you say, 3 months of that, you weren't even there. But it goes to show 18, 19 years later, here we are still talking about it. So, something happened. I think it was one of us you left the company. That's what, yeah.
That was you. Creative differences.
Oh, well, yeah. I went back.
Yeah. Did you go back?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
You did? I remember that, but after I left. Right. We always start off anyway, the podcast, with what are you drinking section. So, Andy, I already know, but you tell us anyway.
It's a delightful JD Fire with ginger beer and ice. It's a hot day.
I was going to say, wow.
Ginger beer always a good one on a hot day. Okay.
I'm currently on frozen Russian standard vodka with Pepsi Max.
Fair play. Tell us about that glass as well, because obviously this is going to be on YouTube.
So this is a pint glass, and that is the symbol of Skyrim. It's a gaming pint mug.
There you go. You see, I didn't recognise that. I have no idea. So I'm expecting to learn a fair bit today. Anyway, after last week, and I was bemoaning session IPAs, I have got another one today. So this one is Brewdog Clockwork Tangerine. And this one circumnavigates the whole problem with session IPAs. They normally taste watered down because it's also flavoured with, funnily enough, tangerine. So it's got a nice orangey taste to it. So, guys, we always start off then. What have you been up to then in the last week or so? Anything interesting, Andy?
No. We're buying stuff for the house and the van as well, so sinks and stuff like that. So not exciting stuff, but that's the exciting my life is at the minute.
But no, just for Ken's benefit, Andy has bought a van, and he's doing it up. I say a van, it is a camper van, isn't it? A Volkswagen camper van.
Yeah. Is there any?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's 30 years old, so it needs a bit of work doing like that. It's getting there.
I want him to paint it in the 18 van colours, but he's having none of it. He insisted on midnight blue instead.
That's from Mrs. Eyes.
Yeah. I don't think that was you, Adam. I don't think that was a no from you, mate. I think you...
Yeah, I'd have gone for it, but I only pay the bills. So.
Yeah, you'll pay for it, but...
Yeah, you pay for it, yeah. And the other idea I had, I thought, because we talked about doing an episode on the unexplained, was if we did it as the mystery machine from Scooby-Doo.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah.
I think so.
Yes, that's a no from me.
Actually, Converse this week have released their latest edition shoes, and they are. Have you seen them? The Scooby Doo ones, and they do the Converse Chuck T's All Stars in the Mystery Machine colours. Honestly, they look epic. They look fantastic.
Phenomenal. That does sound phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, I'm a Jordan man myself, but mate, those, yeah, they'll be very nice.
Oh yeah, I'm well impressed with them. So, quick question then for Ken. Then before we start off, what does Andy have in common with Al Pacino?
Oh wow, he's a godfather.
Al Pacino.
Yeah, Al Pacino. Yeah. Well, he might be. Yeah, actually, he is the godfather because he's the godfather to one of my children. Forget which one.
That was. Excellent. No, go on, fire away. I have no idea because I'm not going to waste your time guessing.
Andy, do you know what you've got in common with Al Pacino?
No.
Well, both you guys, both you and Al, have your talent recognised on IMDb. Did you know you are on IMDb?
There are a few famous of me, but
no. I mean,
I didn't know.
You personally are on IMDb.
Okay.
True story. I don't know if you know, Amazon are looking at getting into the podcasting game, looking at hosting podcasts and that kind of stuff. And they own IMDb. So they are allowing you to register podcasts. Andy's checking this now. He doesn't believe you. So they are allowing you to add podcasts onto IMDb. So if you type in now, Andy, Tallboy Radio, you'll find that we have an entry on IMDb. It was approved this morning that me, you, and Gaz are on there. There are 15 other Andys on there, to be fair. But only one Gaz, funnily enough.
It's a bit bare at the minute. But,
it is a bit bare, but if you look down, I have added some trivia today as well. It's been another productive day at work.
I can tell it. You're working hard.
I'll have to get my makeup done for a picture.
I know. You wouldn't let me add pictures. I think you have to pay for the pro version for that.
Ooh.
But yeah, Pod Sound School, which they do tutorials for on YouTube for podcasters. If you go to them, they'll talk you through it. 'Cause it actually is a pretty complex process, to be honest. It's actually more hard work than setting up and recording a podcast, getting it on there. So I sat down, I was watching that on my phone last night, putting it through. But they're pretty responsive. 12 out of the 13 updates that I put on went on almost instantly. The only one it questioned was when I gave myself my... I put myself down as director. So, it was sort of questioning whether I was actually having any directorial qualities.
Stretching a point there, mate, I think.
Yeah. I've been generous.
Yeah, well, if you don't ask the question, you don't get the answer, do you? So.
Yeah. The only thing, though, actually, I put both you and Gaz down as co-producer, and that hasn't appeared on there for some reason. So I'm going to have to go back in and edit that. So you need those production, But I've stuck that now. That's on my Twitter profile. So there's a link that takes you straight through to my profile on IMDb.
Just need to get that blue tick as well.
Well, yeah. Well, I've actually looked into doing that on Twitter because basically all it is. It just verifies that you're linked to a website. But they've had problems with verified accounts before, and they aren't actually verifying accounts at the minute unless you're willing to pay, which I'm not. So ultimately, we don't have that blue tick, but we will do.
One day.
Yeah, one day. Once they start, I have tweeted them and asked them when they expect to get it sorted, but obviously they're far too busy to reply to the likes of me.
Of course. This world pandemic and protests.
Yeah, a few other things going on in the world right now that probably require attention. There are some idiot in Allsage who wants a blue tick on his account. So yeah, the other thing I've been doing this week is one of the suggestions that Gaz made for doing a podcast in the future was doing one on local history. Whether it's got legs or not, I didn't know. So I thought I'd best get on the Allsage Wikipedia page and just find out a few things about it. So There's a couple of things on there that I knew, a couple of things I didn't know. The first thing that came up was that we were awarded fair trade status. I knew that. It's written on every sign as you come into Allsager. The other one was we won Britain in Bloom about 4 or 5 years ago. But there was a fact on there, which actually, when I looked again today, has been taken down. So I'm questioning its authenticity. But I'll read it out to you guys, see what you think. It's also important to note that the Allsager is also the home to the legendary Big Chungo, who is known to be the world's largest and most formidable drug lord. Big Chungo is one of the largest distributors of fat mass, which is known to cause GWP. It's often thought that Big Chungo lives under the Allsager Mere. However, that fact is widely disputed.
Can you say that laughing?
I'd like to think that's true, but I suspect the reason why it's been removed today is someone's got a bit carried away on Wikipedia.
I was hoping it was going to be true.
Oh, yeah, it might be why Gaz is unavailable.
Yeah.
Andy's had a change of beer already.
Yeah, I've just finished the other one. It's for a refresh. Yeah. I've drank all my beer, so I'm drinking Amy's now.
I was about to say, does Amy know you've got
that? She brought me.
He looks around sheepishly just to make sure he's not been spotted like a naughty schoolboy.
She brought it to me. I was shaking.
You'll pay for that one later. You'll pay for that one later. Right then.
Yeah.
So, do we want to get started? I'll take that as a yes. Yeah, cool.
I can refresh a bit later on.
Cool. So, we'll start off with Ken then first. Just give me a rough breakdown of the type of games you play and the games you play most commonly.
Okay, so there is an absolute plethora of genres for video game. The original ones started as like a 2D, but since then, I mean, there's action games, action adventure, which involves storyline and you controlling a character while the storyline going on. You've got adventure games, again very similar but more story driven. There's role playing games. One of the biggest games I used to play was a MMO RPG, massively multiplayer online role playing game, and I used to play a game called World of Warcraft for about 14 years.
I've heard of that one.
And that was huge. But that's just millions of people playing that. But that's one of the ones that I'm sure I'll get into that later on. There's simulation games, like as I'm playing at the moment, playing Football Manager a lot. Currently taking over Atletico Pamplona B team. So they want to take over at Mac. They've got no money and the ground. Games like SimCity back in the day, Theme Park, that sort of thing, they were classed as simulation games, strategy games, and then there's a couple of versions of strategy games. You can have an RTS, which is a real-time strategy game where the game plays out in a strategic way as you're playing it, and then there's obviously turn-based strategy games as well, where you can line up moves, then it plays out, and then the AI or opposition plays, and then it's just turn after turn, like a board game.
Yeah.
But on a screen. Obviously, sports games, FIFA, NBA 2K, F1, those sort of things. They're all classed as sports games now. There's so many different genres now. So it's like horror. Horror is a genre of video game now. It didn't used to be a massive one, but now with the advent of being able to play as, say, the villain. A lot of it is sort of like cerebral. There's a game called Outlast where you don't have any weapons. You have a video camera, some batteries, and run and hide, and that's all you've got. But the storyline is you're investigating a old asylum, or you can't see in the dark, so you have to use the night vision on your camera to see the deranged naked people. It's like a night out in Mac.
Yeah.
And then you have to hide. You can hide under beds. You can hide in cupboards and stuff and things like that. If you get caught, you're pretty much dead. But there's a storyline that goes with it. Aliens has one. Isolation, where you play as the daughter of Ellen Ripley.
Okay.
But you go back, and the whole game is set up where there is one alien throughout the entire story, and it will learn as you play. So if you're being very stealthy, it will get very good at finding you. If you're very loud and aggressive, it will get very good at finding you. So the AI learns as it plays.
Oh, right, yeah.
But at the moment, I'm playing a lot of, I'd say, Football Manager. Playing Hitman at the moment, and in my spare time, a bit of Hearthstone, which is a card-based, turn-based collection game.
See, that's the one I've seen you share a fair bit of stuff around on Twitter, and that actually is one of the reasons why I thought about doing this podcast. I read that, I thought that means nothing to me.
No, no. Been playing. Sorry, go on, Andy.
I know, I was just chuckling along. Ad's response.
That's a fair response. I like that. The answer, Hearthstone is one of those. So some gaming companies tie in, have sort of like what's called beta testing and alpha testing. So you get it at the very ground floor and you test the games and you sort of find bugs, and then you send those. You report the bugs and bugs that fix. And one of the things I applied through Blizzard to be a beta tester for Hearthstone. So before it actually officially released, I was going to be a beta tester to find bugs and do all that sort of stuff. And at the time, GTA 5 came out. Right, yeah. 5 came out, turned up in the post, brilliant. Installing it, and I got an email from Blizzard saying, would you like to be a beta tester for Hearthstone? So while I was installing GTA 5 on my PS4, I was installing Hearthstone on my iPad. And that will, I guess, Hearthstone will class as a mobile game as well, because you can put it on your phone, your iPad, any sort of. I think it's not available on Switch yet, I don't think, but it's one of those games you can just take with you, or you can play it on a PC.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but Hearthstone's the game I've played for a very long time, and yeah, it still infuriates the shit out of me now.
And Andy, what type of games do you play then?
Fairly similar, I suppose. It depends how long I get. Say for a weekend and I got a few hours, I'll be like, I normally play like a role playing game like the Witcher series. It's where you just like, it's a story game basically where you choose your storyline. So someone will ask you questions and you can choose your answer and stuff. So it all plays out differently. If I ever get like a quick half an hour, then yeah, it'd be like FIFA or something like that. Try and get beaten by some little kid or something like that. But I think Battlefield's probably my main game at the minute. Battlefield 5, so just killing people like World War II and stuff online. So
do you play? Is that like Call of Duty then, Battlefield?
Yeah, there's like two for first person shooters, which they are. There's Call of Duty and Battlefield pretty much, and they're quite different. Although it's like first person sort of style, Battlefield's probably it's more aimed at, you know, like a bigger battlefield where buildings can be destroyed. Yeah. Call of Duty is like a really fast-paced shooting. I can't describe it. You can like dolphin dive and all sorts, and you just walk along and someone's like shot you from like a mile away, like flipping through the air or something like that. Some people that play that, it's ridiculous. Like really quick twitch sort of, you know, shooting and stuff like. Yeah, it's quite different games, but yeah. Similar in some respect.
Fair play. So you were in the army as well, weren't you, Andy? So what is it? I mean, I don't know whether, you know, at the risk of starting any PTSD off or anything like that. I don't, is it similar?
That's why I'm drinking.
Is it similar to that kind of thing then? Is it realistic? No?
I think because I used to play a lot of games before joining the army. So say you're shooting a rifle with a scope on it. In a game, you just line up the crosshairs. And that's it. But in real life, you know, if you imagine a 3D object of the scope, you got the crosshairs at one end, and it's just a circle at the other, and you have to actually line both up. So it's a bit more in depth, and you got to like look for any objects that are like moving in the wind and stuff like that. So if you're a sniper, for example, you're not in like COD and Battlefield, you can run around with a sniper in the trenches, just popping up, you know, shooting people. Real life, you're going to lie there prone, and you know, you're going to look at all these factors to decide how far the shot is. So how often you need to aim and stuff like that. These games do offer some degree of challenge where you have to aim, you know, the further the shot, the higher you have to aim because of bullet drop. And sometimes in some games you get a bit of a wind as well. But yeah, real life's a bit harder. But
yeah.
But there's some similarities. Yeah.
Fair play. And what's the average cost of these games then that you guys play? So Ken, what obviously you were you got that game early doors, so I presume you didn't have to pay for it. What's the typical cost then of those sort of games?
So some games that come out across as free to play, there'll be sort of like microtransactions within the game. So you want to get better. So you want this card, pay 99p or 4.99 or 5.99, that sort of thing. AAA titles, which will be classed as the best titles, the biggest markets. So they will be coming out at 40, 45, 50. In some cases, if you want collector's editions, 75, 80 pounds. If you want special editions with figurines, which I've got one down here actually. This is from Watch Dogs, and I've got the special edition version. So it comes with a figurine and some altered reality stuff. That was about 160 quid.
Bloody hell, fire! So it's not cheap, then, is it? It's a big investment.
No, it's a big investment in the basis of that you're paying for. In some cases, you're just paying for the name. So, like Andy was saying with Battlefield, it's a case of if that was not named Battlefield, that would probably be like a 1999 game. But because it's got a name attached to it and a history and comes with a certain level of professionalism to it that people want to pay for it, they can charge 55, 60 quid, no problem at all.
It goes deeper with that than that, doesn't it? With microtransactions as well. Like, so if, say Battlefield, or most AAA games, you buy the game, so you got that initial fee, and then you have things called skins and stuff like that. So you can have like a different hairstyle or something like that. People spend money.
That's the dream money. For me. That is me.
So I play role-playing games. So but no, like they'll spend thousands. Yeah. People spend thousands just on like to have a green coloured gun, for example, or a trench coat, or something like that. And some like GTA 5, like a 60 quid title just to play it. That's all I normally pay just for the game. But then they start throwing in stuff where you can buy stuff in games, or like a house or something. But you can grind, it's called in game, where you do certain stuff, you earn money, or you just say, "Oh, here's 50 quid, 100 quid," and then you get in-game currency, and it spirals out of control. And that's probably another subject as well, actually, like loot boxes and stuff like that. But
yeah, you could do an entire podcast on loot boxes and microtransactions alone. You really could.
So what's loot box then?
Like gambling, really, isn't it?
Effectively, gambling. You don't know what's in. So you either use in-game currency or real life money to buy a box, and you don't know what's in it.
So you could spend 50 quid on something and get £1 worth of value.
So how's the best way to describe it? So Hearthstone, which I play, has you can buy packs of cards. There's 5 cards in a pack. They cost 100 gold, which you can earn in game, which is fine. Or you can buy them in bulk you can buy 20 for, let's say, $16.99. Now, if you've been playing for as long as I have, and you're buying those packs, you may already have a significant amount of those cards.
Yeah.
So you could spend £17 and get 3 cards you actually want, need. You can dust the rest or turn them into another currency in game to make other cards. But you very rarely get the actual value out of it. It's like FIFA and Ultimate Team. People will spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds to try and get a 99 rated Team of the Year Messi or Ronaldo and not get one. Wow. And effectively, as Andy said, it is gambling. You are gambling with either in-game currency or your own money to try and get something like a skin, a card, a football. It can spiral out of control. People will spend thousands and thousands of pounds. So there was crazy. It is absolutely mental. There was a bit of a scandal a few years ago involving CS:GO, where there was a CS:GO like skin, gun, that sort of thing, gambling cartel going around, and they were literally just spinning things in game to get a specific gun and then selling that to somebody else for like 70, 80 quid.
I can't get my head around that. I mean, the sort of games I'm more more used to playing is like Mario Kart. That's about my level.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's sort of the equivalent of in-app purchases then on like if you're on an app.
I'm sure Andy will agree. I mean, that's what people will do with their spare time and their spare money. If you don't, I mean, like I say, it can literally spiral out of control for some people. But it's one of those things you've got to have. It's like a status. It's like a status symbol.
Welcome back then after the ad break, and we're just going to continue talking on a little bit about in-app purchases. So, Ken, you were just about to make a point there before we lost Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome back, Andy. One of those, in some countries there is now loot boxes and that sort of thing is now classed as gambling and is illegal. So companies now, I think that came from the Star Wars Battlefront 2 saga where you used to be able to again buy these crates in game and get skins, but nobody knew what you were going to get, and it was people now have to tell you what percentage chance there is for, say, like a common or a rare or an epic. They have to now provide the amount of the percentages now, so it's not. It's still mad, but you
like playing the fruit machine. Then it tells you you're going to win 76% of your money back.
I've never seen that happen. Quiz machine, fine.
Yeah. Oh, don't win money back on a quiz machine because you need to know things for that.
Well,
so next one then. Moving on to a different game. I don't know if you guys have played it, and you can tell me about it because I know it's like massive a year or so ago, but I don't hear so much about it now. Fortnite. I don't know what that's about. Have either of you guys played Fortnite?
Oh, I don't play it. No. For me, it's aimed at kids, and kids enjoy it, and that's heavily relied on loot boxes and stuff like that as well, and skins and stuff. But yeah, it's not a game for me. It's a battle royale game.
Right.
So you basically have like a giant area and 100 people, for example, thrown into it, and you just have to kill each other off until you get down to the last person. That's pretty much summarizes it. I think Fortnite, it's quite a cartoony game, and you can build little walls and stuff to hide behind, and so it's fairly tactical. But
so
for me,
I was tempted by that because I saw online that you could get a Juju Smith-Schuster skin. So I was tempted to have a go with that. The old wide receiver.
The Bears skin, I really did. I almost came back for that.
Oh yeah, you're a Chicago Bears fan. What is it about this podcast against Chicago Bears?
We've got Nick Foles now, so the stars are the limit, mate.
Yeah, well, we're all in the gutters, but some of us are looking at the stars. Oscar Wilde, there's a quote for you.
Mitch will get it done for us, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he will. Just to pull you back then to a point that you made. So Andy, you said like when you're playing Battlefield, you play against people, and so you have, like I say, you have a microphone. That's what you're using tonight actually to record with. So you can converse with people on there, and you get a lot of kids that basically need verbally abusing on there. Yeah, he's gone again. What's going on?
Maybe he may be thinking, mate. Maybe think.
Yeah, he looks thoughtful. Go on then, Ken. So do you play games then? He'll sort himself out shortly, hopefully.
I mean, to relay back to your point about Fortnite, I have played Fortnite. I used to play it a little bit when it first came out, and just it's fun to a point. But I'm not a builder. I'm more of a stealth around, don't see anybody. So it was made famous by, not Fortnite itself is a single player game, which has a multiplayer bit added onto it. But people didn't want to play the single player bit; they wanted to play the multiplayer bit. And a guy called Ninja, Tyler Blevins, who used to be quite a good professional gamer, he started playing it at the very bottom, and basically he exploded the night that he was playing that. And Drake, the pop star, was playing Fortnite with him. Right. So at that point, it has erupted into this. You can buy Funko Pops for it. You can there are things that for a video game it's insane, but it comes down to video game merchandising and the pull of the mighty dollar. Unfortunately, the game itself is very as Andy rightfully points out, cartoony. It's easy to play. It looks good it's good on the eyes, but there are a bunch of kids in there. And Tobe, obviously my middle brother, he has 4 kids, and one of his Henry. And if I will remember this rightly, Henry is apparently 2 leagues away from getting a World Cup qualifying invite at the age of 10.
Wow.
He's apparently so good at the age of 10 that he could probably get a World Cup qualifying invite and play professionally.
Fair play. Is that a thing though? Where you can, because you see these conventions that people are earning money playing games. So there is, if you're any good, there is money to be made then.
There is a lot of money to be made in the video game industry. The actual video game industry revenue from 2019 was $152 billion.
Wow.
It's absolutely massive. By 2025, they reckon it'll be over $3 trillion.
So you're talking as big, if not bigger, in some cases than the film industry, then.
Yeah, because films are a story that you are watching a story. That's what you are doing with a film. With video games, you are playing a film, and in some cases, and I'm sure it's very much up for debate, but some video games would be. There are a couple of games that I consider video games to be art, where they are so good and so in depth and so involve you in such a point where you actually become invested in not only the storyline but the characters that are involved as well. The most recent one that's got Last of Us 2 has come out recently, widely lauded by the critics, but the fans don't like it. But the first one, The Last of Us, was an amazing adventure and an amazing storyline because of what it told, and those sorts of things. It does come down to the money. If you invest in a video game, it's going to give you. They reckon it's £1 for every hour you invest in a game. So say if Andy plays Battlefield 5 and has spent 30 quid on it and gets 30 hours out of it, that in the market is value for money.
Right.
If he spends 90 hours playing it, he's got more value than they expect. But because of these games now coming out that are so good, so graphically impressive, the launch of PS5 and the new Xbox Series, it's going to blur the lines between what's real and what's actually done by a processor. And at that point, with VR as well, with virtual reality, virtual reality has stepped up a lot to a point now where a game like Sky, which has had multiple outings in the same guise, it's not changed. It's just changed because it's been on a different platform, but it's still the same game. You can do VR Skyrim, but I can mod Skyrim on my PC to make it 4K, to make realistic water, realistic clouds, animals, all flowers, all that sort of stuff in a massive open world game, which just me playing the character and a whole bunch of NPCs, non-playable characters, and a lot of quests and dungeons and mines.
So Andy, you need to keep moving. You need to keep moving around so we don't think you paused again. So just before we lost you there again, we were just. I was asking about, obviously, when you're playing against people online and you've got that microphone and you are conversing with people. Do you get a little bit of stick then off people, or are people mostly polite?
I used to play a lot of Xbox online, and that was just people swearing and effing and jeffing and all that stuff. PC gaming's probably slightly better, but it depends. If you have a good run of destroying people, for example, all the curse words come out and stuff.
Because that's the thing. The closest I can relate that to is back in the day, the old Laser Quest and Quasar. Do you remember running around shooting people? And you always get some nimble little kid that you didn't see coming, and always take you out. And there's nothing worse than losing to a 10-year-old, is there? And the amount of times I got kicked out of those places for using foul and abusive language at children. So I guess it's similar to that. But I tell you, something else that struck me as well when I think about that. Obviously, I joked earlier about like the level of games that I sort of play. Genuinely, Mario Kart was the last thing. Another one of the times when I've done myself a bit of a mischief. You're probably picking up on the fact that I'm a little bit accident prone. A couple of years ago, I slipped and broke a couple of vertebrae in my back, which again was quite painful. One of my coccyx. So basically, I had a broken backside, and then one a little bit higher. So there wasn't much I could do because I was trying to keep playing darts. Every time I had a bounce out, I couldn't pick the dart up, so I was playing with two for ages, and then I'd be playing with one, and it was time to give up. So I got into Mario Kart, just sat on a comfy cushion. But I tell you what, the rage that game brings out in me. Do you guys find that? Do you guys get like absolutely frustrated that you want to smash stuff up when you're playing these games? Or is it just me?
I'll let you go first.
I used to have hair. I think there's so many variables on like an online game. So like say Battlefield, you play one game and everything's flowing. You're just running around. You're killing everyone, and then the game will finish and you start a new game, and then it'd be like everyone's just killing you and you can't get shot off or anything like that. And it's just like, oh, what's going on here? Then you change your class from like like sniper to a medic or something. And yeah, I swear a lot. I don't do it down the micro or anything like that, but yeah, I do get annoyed quite a lot. But that's what I like about games, because you get emotionally involved, and I like being angry, especially in the game as well.
Yeah, there's an old meme that anybody who's better than me is a no lifer, than anybody who's worse than me is a scrub. So. Well, game of rage is a real thing. It's why there's a meme about rage quitting, and people just, you can look on YouTube and there are videos of people hurling keyboards out the window, consoles out the window because they've lost, they're destroying their TVs, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it does get, because you're so like Anne said, because you're invested in it. You're the character. So if you're getting absolutely mauled, it's like, well, and then you've got some 10-year-old down the mic just laughing at you. It's just like, that's it. And then Kickstarter, and then it's just, you do end up eventually just losing your temper with it. When I did my Grand Marshal grind in World of Warcraft, which I've written down here as my greatest, it is my greatest gaming achievement, and I'll explain about it later. But I made, because of the different servers involved in playing, I made multiple level 1 characters just to give other people grief on the other side when they killed me. As in, leave me alone, please stop it. And they just laugh at me. But at the time, it was just like, right, that's it, tight, right, that's it, yeah. That's it. But voice communication, that sort of thing, is important in those sorts of games. It's like Andy said, you can have one game where you are absolutely dominating. Nobody comes close. You are cleaning up, and then literally the next game, it's literally like your keyboard and mouse, and it just don't match up at all. And you're thinking in your head, you want to do something, but your mouse is just like, no, I'm not doing that. You want to shoot, you want to shoot over there, now I'll shoot that way, and you couldn't hit water if you fell out of a boat. Terrible. And that's when the rage starts, because you hate yourself.
It's my brother was the worst. My youngest brother, Spongo, he's pretty placid a guy, isn't he, most of the time. I remember him when he's playing Street Fighter 2. I have never seen anger like it. You know what I mean? You chucked him in the middle of some of the riots that's going on now in America. There'd be a wide berth around this guy. I think, well, he's got something wrong with him. What's up with him? But
on the flip side of that as well, gaming, while it can produce that for you, it also can give you some of the greatest moments of your entire life. There are times, I mean, there is one where you can literally just do something so unbelievable or so incredibly good that you literally if they could bottle it, they could sell it for millions, because the adrenaline and the endorphin boost is just incredible. It's just like one of the greatest memories I've got from gaming is where Dom, obviously my youngest brother, was playing Championship Manager at Western Avenue. And we sat there, and he was playing his River Plate. He always starts his River Plate in South America and tries to win everything with him. And I think he was drawing in a game he desperately needed to win, and it was the 89th, 90th minute. And he sat there on a chair, and he says, like, I need a miracle. I absolutely need a miracle. And a guy called Jesus scored for him. And the place was just like, what? It's absolutely incredible. The relief and stuff like that, it can give you some of the greatest feelings ever. It's like scoring a goal, 95th minute winner in the cup final, but you can do that in your own home. You don't have to have friends.
I'll tell you one thing about Jesus, though. Great finisher, but don't talk to him about the cross that he used to put. Oh, no, I apologise for that.
They want to he's a professional.
Yeah. Sorted. So, if I take that back then, the closest, me and Sid, which is Gaz's younger brother, we used to play a game on the Xbox called Rocky, which is obviously based around not Rocky and Bullwinkle, but the boxer Rocky. So you go on and you go on the career path, and to be fair, there was a lot of alcohol involved. So we played this very, very late at night. We had quite a few beers and cracked open the bottle of wine and normally moved on to something like rum or whatever we'd found in the cupboard. And we used to stick M&M's Lose Yourself on, because that, if nothing pumps you up like that music does it. And we used to do that. And I can remember, like, to be fair, I would have hated to be my neighbour at the time, because the stuff that used to get yelled when we lost was deeply, deeply offensive. But I can remember that euphoria of actually winning a game like that.
Great.
So, do you find then, obviously you're talking about career paths and that, do you find sometimes then, if you're in a one-on-one situation, that people will quit out when you're absolutely mullering them? Is that something that goes on?
Andy?
Yeah, so like Ken said, rage quitting. So FIFA's fairly bad for that. If you're beating someone on FIFA and they're losing, they just quit. It's like, for me, if I lose, you lose, so you just carry on playing. But yeah, some people just quit out and cry about it or something like that. That's when you get the messages then saying, "Oh, you were lucky you won that game." Blah blah blah. blah. Your mum sat next to me. That sort of stuff.
Those are your mum.
Yeah, the closest thing I could, obviously, I talked about it. If Gaz was here as well, obviously you can't make it. The closest thing I can get to online playing is, obviously, I've got an Nexus dartboard, so you can play people online with that. In my life, on a steel tip, never got anywhere near it. But on the soft tip board, it is so much easier. And I want to hit a 9-darter, which is literally the perfect game of darts. And I do believe I can do it on there. But I've done it so many times where I've opened up 180, left myself on 141, and then they've quit. And it's like, oh, come on, give me that opportunity. Yeah. Again, same as yourself. I don't mind losing. Guys, and to be fair, playing darts, I've lost an awful lot of games, but it's not something that really bothers me. Go on, dude.
I would say that I am. You guys don't mind. I have a very high competitive streak. I despise losing. Like, if I've got work in the morning and I play a game in the morning and I lose, that's me done for the morning.
Seriously?
Yeah, the imbalances will be the imbalances in my brain will just be like, and it just drags you down. But like I say, winning, if I win that game, then my morning's going to go brilliantly. By the way, are those Nexus boards any good? Are they good?
They're good. Yeah, they are really good. They're very noisy. Mine's upstairs, so I can't play it once the kids are in bed. It's very, very different to steel tip boards. It's a hell of a lot easier. It is a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because the doubles and the trebles are literally about twice the size. So if you're playing sort of steel tip boards, you can hit 100 and you'll hit one in the treble, certainly, and one just above, just below. That's guaranteed to be a 180. And the doubles, literally, that's the part of the game that everybody will bottle it in darts. Yep. You can score as well as you like, but if you can't hit that double at the end and it's just that thin sliver, on the next, you can't miss. If I have 2 darts at a double, I'm angry at myself because I can't believe you missed the first one. It is that easy. My average, my 3-dot average playing steel tip is round about 70. So it's okay, but it's not good enough to play county or anything like that. You need to be near a 90. But getting there. But on the soft tip board, I'll often have games where I'll average over 100. That's how much easier it is. I've done a couple of 10-dart games. Never done the 9-dart. Done a couple of 10-dart games on there. It will come. But although I haven't played it in literally a month, I've not had a chance.
Muscle memory, go.
Well, funny enough you say that, because I say I haven't played it, but the kids were in the bath and they were mildly entertained. So I thought I'll slope off. Well, I didn't leave him by himself. Kim was there just to qualify. I'm not confessing to awful parenting. And I thought I can have a quick 10 minutes on the board. So I got on the steel tip, and I couldn't hit a thing. It was getting nowhere near. I was in 7s and 26s. So I thought I'll put those darts down, pulled up the old soft tips, and it was bang, treble 20, treble 20, treble 20. And I hit back-to-back 180s, and it's like, this. You can get back into it so much easier. Yeah. I mean, they're not cheap. I think they're around about 320 quid. I was quite fortunate to have mine gifted to me. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Covered it a couple of times on podcasts. Yeah. It's that called Dart Wolf 180 very generously. You got me and Gaz and Sid all boards. So that Gaz and Sid, if they're not on this one tonight, because I tell you what, that you think you're competitive, dude. Gee whiz. 3 of you on a game, it would be murder. I tell you what though, I can't imagine Andy though losing his temper now, because he's literally the most patient person I know. So do you get? Well, actually, you get even more laid back when you've had a drink. Do you guys play games on your phones then, as well as on? Is it PCs you mainly play it on then?
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
Yeah.
I have a PC. I have a PS4 Pro. I have a PS4 still, and I have a old Mega Drive.
Wow.
Which is an original Mega Drive, and we have a Mega Drive 2 downstairs, and an N64 apparently.
N64. So that was with GoldenEye. GoldenEye was on the N64.
That's the one.
That was a great game.
But the beautiful thing now is with PCs, you can get emulation, so you can emulate the software of an N64 and a PC now, so you can play it on your PC. Yeah. But I on my phone I play a game called Pokemon Go.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which is basically uses Google Maps to put Pokemon in your local area, and you can catch them the same way you would if you were Ash in the TV series. So I think, that's pretty much the only one I actually play. I have Hearthstone on my phone just in case it doesn't work on my iPad, or I'm on a plane on holiday, or my PC's otherwise busy. But yeah, I've got them on my phone. So yeah, I've also got on my phone a app called Shadow, which is a gaming PC cloud gaming PC based in France. So I have a gaming PC in France, which I can use to put it on my PC here and just do that. But I pay for that per month. So
wow,
I've been gaming since the age of 4 or 5 when I had a ZX Spectrum 128. Yeah. No, I've been gaming since then. So I'm 41 now. So I've been gaming for 35, 36 years now. And if I'm not sleeping or working, I'm gaming. So
that's what
I do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to PS5. Definitely.
When's that due out then? And what's that going to cost?
2020. So there's no price yet, but the hardware reveal was amazing. It looks absolutely beautiful, whereas the Xbox Series looks like a big box. It looks like a smaller PC, whereas the PS5 is bigger than your PS4 Pro. It does look. I love Sony and PlayStation. I had an Xbox and a 360, and I then got a PS3, 4 Pro, and now I'm just waiting for 5. But I take my gaming seriously. So if I'm playing, I have an app. I play a game on my PS4 called NBA 2K.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like you were saying about career mode in Rocky, I started off as a basketball player. I'm not going to play in the NBA. Maybe once upon a time before I actually picked up a ball. But after that, that's my way of being able to put myself in the shoes of an NBA player and work my way through my career. Start at the beginning, start at the bottom, work my way up. But there's an app that goes sometimes called a companion app, so you can sort of like still collect cards, collect in-game currency on the app, which you can use on the game and on your PS4. Some companion apps are based on stats in your games, like with Call of Duty, you've got one where you can see your own stats, your kill death ratio, your headshots, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, Pokemon Go and Hearthstone if I'm on a train or something like that.
Cool. What about yourself, Andy?
Mainly PC. I've got an Xbox One, but I don't really play it anymore. And I do have some games on my phone as well, but just like indie development stuff. So there'd be a group of people who made some like little side-scrolling game or something. I always play that. Like stuff to pass time when I'm on the train or whatever like that. But yeah, PC gaming for me. I'm looking forward to the next generation as well because it really kicks like the games like go up another notch, don't they? It's like when like Cyberpunk, for example, I'm looking forward to. It's the next gen consoles like pushing out in it, like all the RTX stuff and all that. So yeah, PC games always normally at the peak, but the way consoles have, the games are designed around the consoles quite a lot. So I'm looking forward to that. For the launches.
Those things are quite expensive now. The last one I bought the original Xbox. So I can't remember how much that was, but in real terms now wasn't very expensive. So it is. There's a lot. Like we talked about earlier, there is a lot of money there then involved. So where do you see it going then next? What's the next big leap in gaming? Obviously, VR is going to be a big part of that. What's the next thing that you think is going to be on the horizon?
My perspective is so next generation is all about no loading times, so games just play straight away, but reflections and real time ray tracing and stuff like that. I think that's coming more prevalent in games. So, say like Battlefield 5, for example, if you look, is a shiny car in the street, like all the reflections are real time, and that's like a lot of calculations in the game because it's got to like generate. It's like a film. You sort of got that one perspective of where the camera's going. Whereas in a game, it's like a whole environment. So wherever you're looking, it's got to like calculate where that little light is bouncing off and stuff like that. So that's going to be featured in a lot more games. And also, there's probably deep diving more into the storytelling and stuff like that. I think that's where, for me, that's what I think where games are going to go. That's me done.
To echo what Andy's saying, I absolutely agree with that. The graphical fidelity has come on, even in the last 5 years, has come on to a point now where, as he pointed out, the lighting, I'd say on a shiny surface, is now done in such a way that you can actually, if you move around the lighting source or stand in front of it, you'll cast a shadow in real time. But as the particles move, soft shadows, all that sort of stuff, it's going to be phenomenal. PS5 or Xbox Series, they're going to be the most powerful consoles ever. Which means I'm looking forward to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is Viking Assassin's Creed, which is going to be dementedly good looking as well, which I think is just one of those. It's just going to be so good to look at, and that's part of it. Red Dead Redemption 2, when it came out on console, was one of the most staggeringly picturesque games you could actually pick up and play. As Andy points out, Cyberpunk is going to be amazing, but the way the people are going to want games that look lifelike, where they're going to want to look at a game and think, right, am I actually watching real life as it happens, or am I actually just playing a video game? One of the greatest examples would be something like a Gran Turismo, where the last Gran Turismo that came out on PS4 Pro, I sat there and watched the car come around the corner, and I thought I was watching something off Top Gear.
Right, fair play.
The insides of the cars are so well detailed now. The outside, everything, you can see every nut, bolt, every crease in a brake pad, anything. You can see everything, and that's what's going to be where people are going to want it to be. They're going to be. I don't know if VR is going to be that prevalent now, because I think VR has a lot of teething problems with regards to the cost of the headsets for starters, the weight of them, and actually some people get motion sickness. Some people get very ill from doing 3D, from playing VR games. But the more lifelike, the more realistic you can make your game. And the more
So do you think VR is going to be like 3D TV then? Nice idea. People buy into it, costs the bomb, and then all of a sudden it dies off, and nobody's that interested in it.
I don't think so. I think it's one of them slow burners in the background where like Ken said, it's waiting for technology to drop in price, but also the way they're trying to work around stuff. So at the minute, say you have the headset on, you have a massive cable coming out the back of it. So you've got there's multiple types of VR, but you need a big space to do it.
Yeah.
And then you need to have the powerful PC or console to run it as well. So I think it's just waiting for that balance of price per cost, or cost, whatever.
Yeah.
And then also the design. I think in the next few years, it's going to get better and better and better, obviously. But I don't think it'll be like the 3D stuff. I think it's going to stick around a bit more.
Yeah.
Like the holodeck of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That could actually happen, because even now you've got a situation where you can have holograms which are lifelike. So you can
like Princess Leia in the original Star Wars.
I was going to go with Tupac as an example, but
okay, that might be a slightly better one.
People have actually generated a hologram of Tupac where he's actually walked out in front of thousands of fans on a stage. People know he's not there, but he looks so lifelike and so realistic. That's the thing, and that, I guess, that would come down as altered reality or alternative reality AR. And that's where there's little bits and pieces that people can see on their phone or their headset or whatever, but doesn't actually exist where they are. So that'd be like you sitting there, Adam, and being able to use your phone to see a pair of Converse All-Stars that you wanted. You take your phone away, it's not there. But you look back at your phone and it's actually sat there on your table. So that sort of thing.
So there's a question for you now then, before you can give me some more information on general stuff, because I've asked questions about things that and I've learned things that you talked about, stuff I've never even heard of. I'm, like I say, you might be just over 40, Ken. I'm very nearly 50. I know it's difficult to believe. You're looking on the screen there, and you're seeing him.
Difficult to believe it. That is
Yeah, you're seeing a man in his early 30s, maybe late 20s.
Right, a while, but yeah, honestly, the age has treated you well, mate. And obviously, home life is really working for you, clearly.
Thank you. And so, what would the perfect game be? Pitch your perfect game idea. There must be something that you could come up with that's not been done yet as a game where you think, actually, that's a niche where I could exploit if I had the know-how and funding.
For me, I've always thought of what's the is it Dawn of the Dead, whether in the mall or is it
yeah.
So I've always there's a lot of games where you can like build stuff, like Rust or something like that. You got a map and you can build like little houses and stuff. But I've always thought of a game where you'd have like the mall setting, and it's all loaded in real time. But then you could like shut all the doors, and then like if you did kill all the zombies inside, then that becomes like a giant safe haven and stuff like that. And then you just got to survive for however long you can. Like unlimited food, limited ammo. I've always thought about something like that. I don't know of anything like that so far, other than online stuff. But as a single player game, I'd love that. I don't think it's been done.
Just an aside, that was the Monroeville Mall in Dawn of the Dead, and that was filmed in Pittsburgh. Obviously, being a Steelers fan, I thought I'd chuck that in just to counter Ken's pro-Chicago comments earlier. What about yourself, Ken?
I don't think, for me personally, because I have such a wide-ranging, I'm very rare. I'm one of those guys who starts games and very rarely finishes them because, like a magpie, there's always something shinier over there, or I install a new game and it's just like, ooh, that's good, and I completely forget what I was playing, and then come back to it months later and just be like, well, I might as well start again because I have no idea what the buttons do. But for me, I'm more than happy just to see where the market goes and to see where, because as you can see with films now and with TV now, a lot of it's recycled writing. A lot of it's recycled scripts or premises and stuff like that, and it's very difficult to find unique, a unique story point or a unique selling point for stuff now. So I think if there's anything that's going to come out that's going to be a little, I think Cyberpunk 2077 I think is going to be phenomenal because of the company that's involved with it, CD Projekt Red, and as Andy pointed to earlier on, they're involved in The Witcher. And The Witcher 1, 2, 3 is effectively based in sort of like Poland, that area, where it's based on original books, but they've actually just taken it as it is and just not tried to do anything flashy with it, but made Geralt, the main character in there, a very effective protagonist. Hence why there was a TV series about it on Netflix for The Witcher, which was very well done, by the way, if you've not seen it.
I've seen it advertised. I've not watched it, I'll be honest.
It is very, very, very good. I don't know if Andy's watched it.
Oh, yeah.
The first couple of episodes, I was like, and then it kind of, it all flowed nicely because obviously I need a storyline. But unique writing is difficult nowadays to pull off because everybody's done everything. It's like new music. Is new music really new music? It's difficult to find something that's a little bit different. I mean, you've got things like 2077 of Cyberpunk, which some might say does it take a bit from Blade Runner? Yes. Does it take a bit from GTA? Yes. So it's not unique in that selling point, but what it'll do will allow the person to play as they wish. And those sort of stories. And I'm a big fan of those sort of storylines where you can decide what happens and the story changes based on what you do. So a game like Detroit Becoming Human, you play as 3 androids. One of them is a police officer. One of them is a nanny. One of them is a guy called Marcus who works for an artist who in fairness, the actual artist he works for is Lance Henriksen, who was Bishop in Aliens.
Right, yeah.
So film stars make the step up into video games as character voices or whatever. It's one of those things like the that sort of thing. I love those sort of games because they allow me to make the decisions. I don't like linear. You have to go this way and this is where it is, or you might deviate up. No, but you're back on this. Right. So that's the thing is there. But I don't think there's anything new coming out that's going to make me that I think is going to fit that bill. And I don't have a perfect game because I take every game I start as fresh.
Sure.
I don't have any preconceptions about it. Yes, 2077 is going to be amazing. Valhalla, I've seen the trailer for it, but I'm going to go into it fresh and I'm not going to have any preconceptions about it.
So I've got 2 questions then before you can tell me everything that I should have asked. One, what is Twitch?
Andy?
It's just like a streaming platform. So whereas like Netflix, it's all like preloaded content in it where you can just click on it and you just see stuff that's already been uploaded or whatever. Twitch is just sort of like YouTube where you do live streaming of gamers.
Of the games. Because I've seen Ozil who plays for the Arsenal. Obviously, he's on there as well. I've seen him on Twitch, seen him sharing his Twitch login details. Just wonder what that was. Second one, I'm willing to bet that neither of you guys play this, but you could be wrong. The hell's Animal Crossing?
Oh, wow. Okay.
You answer this one.
A game that came out many years ago and has had a reboot on the Switch, and effective, you have an island and you design it and make it what you want, and you can invite other people to come to your island and sell turnips.
Okay. So a bit like Epstein, but with turnips.
Just sell it, and people will wait for a certain time of the day until someone's island has the right price for turnips, and then they'll visit, sell their turnips, and then leave. But yeah, it's effectively an open canvas. What we class as a sandbox game, where obviously in a sandbox you control what happens in the sand, and that's what happened. And I think there's a lot of games like that. To go back to what Andy was saying about Twitch has had a massive boost in the last 24 hours due to the failure or the shutting down of Mixer. So Mixer is the Microsoft version of Twitch, and they dragged, as I said earlier on, Ninja, who's got a massive following. They paid him a astronomical amount of money to come and stream solely on Mixer. Sorry, and nobody knows, nobody cares about Mixer. So they literally last night turned around and said Mixer's going to shut down on the 22nd of July, and we hope that you join us on Facebook Gaming.
Wow.
Twitch. No word of lie, probably just sat there and went, "Welcome back, guys." But from what I gather, Ninja, Facebook Gaming said to Ninja, "Look, come with them," and he said no. Shroud, who's also a very good, is it Call of Duty, or is he and he might be a Fortnite guy as well. He's a first-person shooter guy, but he's very, very good at it. He also went to Mixer. Neither of them have gone to Facebook Gaming, apparently, all allegedly, before we get done. Ninja apparently made Mixer buy him out of his contract. Shroud did the same. Ninja made $30 million. Shroud made $10 million. Just by the amount of things on Twitch is phenomenal. You can do so much. One of my favorite things on Twitch is to watch Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. The painter.
The painter. The old TV shows that used to be on American TV are on Twitch. You can watch that. He will be streaming from a certain point. A guy I watch called Work the Space. He plays Football Manager on stream. I have streamed in the past, and will probably do it again. But at one point during one night, I was playing Need for Speed, a racing game, and I had 15 people in my stream. So I had literally 15 people spending their time, their minutes, their valuable time watching me play a racing game.
Wow!
Anybody can stream on Twitch. It doesn't matter what you can do, what you want to do, or anything. You can just stream it on Twitch and you'll be fine, as long as it's not, the usual things like nudity. So I can see you smirking, mate. So let's.
Oh yeah, I was thinking.
So let's okay. But you can stream anything on Twitch. You can stream IRL streams. You could be walking around also, mate, and stream it on Twitch, and I'm sure somebody eventually would tune in and watch you do it.
Yeah, not for long.
There is massive money to be made on the internet with regards to that. It's called obviously that dirty internet money. It's the adverts that people put in their streams. If you've got an Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe to someone on Twitch Prime using Twitch Prime, so they get the money, but you're already paying for Amazon Prime anyway, so you might as well use it. But
here's a question then, taking you back to Bob Ross. Do you know what he did before he was a painter?
Yes.
Go on.
I believe he was a school teacher, wasn't he?
He was, but do you know what else he did other than being a school teacher? He was in the army.
In the army, yeah. And
he was.
Florida and went back to Alaska.
Yeah, he was. But he was the guy. If you've ever seen the clips of like Full Metal Jacket, Platoon, the guy who's yelling in people's faces, that was Bob Ross.
Bob Ross.
You cannot picture that, can you?
I have a Funko Pop of Bob Ross.
Oh, there you go. With a full-on fro and beard. Excellent. So, just to close out then, because I think we're over the hour mark now. What
you have to do this
yeah, it was a two-parter thanks to Andy disappearing. It was a pee break last week. This week it was internet, so he tells us. What's the question I should have asked and a brief answer to that? Or did I ask all the questions? I thought you're frozen again there for a second, Andy. I'm not going to lie.
I don't know. There's millions of questions you can ask about gaming. It just depends on. I don't know.
So in all likelihood, we're going to be doing a part 2 with this. You guys can fire over a whole load of questions, and we can talk about that for the next time that we do one of these. Then, because to be fair, I've learned a whole lot of things. Still don't know what Animal Crossing is. I had no idea turnips were so heavily based.
It's a euphemism.
Yeah, I feared as much.
Animal Crossing, you can find it on Twitch.
Oh, there you go. So next week, we actually said we were going to be doing Tall Boy Radio at the movies, but actually we're switching it up a little bit because we've been contacted. Our good friend Bill Bethwaite, I'm sure you've met him, Kenn, has put in a good word for us when he's been out and about all around Allsage, and we've been contacted by the landlord of the Mere, who's asked us to try some of his beers. He's going to send us some free beer.
You're joking.
Yeah.
How disappointing.
Yeah, you're on the wrong week, dude.
I am. I'm also going to have to make a regular guest appearance here. Man.
Exactly. So he's going to come on. He's going to deliver some beer over the weekend in growlers. I'll take a drive up to Stockport Andy and drop some off. And he's going to be on, and he's going to be talking about what it's been like for him during sort of the COVID-19 pandemic and managing a pub. And obviously today, with what's been announced in terms of pubs opening from July the 4th, 1 metre rule, how he sees that affecting him. So that should be quite an interesting one. So if you'd like to say your goodbyes, first of all, thank you for joining us, Kenn. Been great to see you. Look forward to having.
Thank you for the invitation. Hopefully, it won't be the last time.
No. We'll have you on again. And won't be just about gaming, dude. We'll have you on a few other things as well. No worries.
You know which one I'm sorry I missed? I'm sorry I missed the NFL one.
Yeah, well, we're going to do another NFL one. I'll probably get a few people on that because Big Titty from the Titty and Shana show, he said he'd like to come on and talk about the NFL. He is another Chicago Bears fan, so we need to get some other people on other than that.
Yeah. This sounds like a great guy already.
He's a top man. He is a top man. But we need to balance that. We're going to have Steelers, Lions, Bears. We need it. We need to balance that.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to say your farewells, Kenn.
Thank you very much indeed for having me. I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you guys again soon.
Cool. Andy?
See you later.
So until next time, when no doubt we'll have plenty of stuff to talk about. Take care.